moving on. What are we moving at? Specs?
Features and specs, yeah.
Okay.
So that's one that really gets me excited. I love the highest quality I can possibly
This
get.
is why I included this section.
I appreciate
this
that.
is for you.
I
Okay.
really,
I knew it wasn't for me.
It's for me,
Half
man.
of this, I'm like, what is that?
There are shows in my backlog that I really should be watching, but I'm passing on because they're on HBO now and they're not in 4K. I
don't blame you.
That's really me, man. I'm supposed to be like catching up on Silicon Valley because me and my buddy used to love it, but I am all about the highest fidelity. 4K,
Hi, Adam.
specifically HDR and Dolby Vision are very important to me. I have like a very nice television. I want to watch things the best possible way. So the fact that day one we're going to have 4K Ultra HD, we're going to have HDR10, Dolby Atmos, and I believe Dolby Vision as well, huge for me.
So
Probably just for me.
how about this is going to sound funny, for maybe more layman's terms, for
me.
Yeah.
no, honestly, a little bit for me as well. Like Dolby Atmos, a little bit of experience
Dolby
with.
Atmos doesn't affect me personally. I don't have an Atmos sound system. Dolby Atmos is basically just digital surround sound. So like they aim to be able to get sound like 360 sound. They bounce it off the ceiling. They get it around the room. They do a really good job with it. I've got a buddy who has a nice Dolby Atmos system. It's incredible. I'm not a sound guy. I'm a visual guy. So like fidelity for me really matters when it comes to 4K Ultra HD. That's kind of straightforward. That's just higher resolution. That's just going from 1080p, 720p up to 4K, just more crisp, more detail. HDR and Dolby Vision are more important for me. That's color. So HDR10 is high dynamic range, very similar to what you see in photography. It's just contrast. So dark blacks, very, very bright colors. HDR10 versus Dolby Vision is just a different spectrum. So basically, Dolby Vision just does a better job than HDR10. HDR10 is beautiful as well, but Dolby Vision is just a broader range. It can get from the most extreme to the most extreme, just a higher range than HDR10. So just better colors for the most part. You really notice it if you've had it before.
See, this is part of the reason that I have John around again, is that it gets me excited for stuff. Whether it's like that next game, that next Star Wars, the technology we're talking about. I always appreciate his passion towards it.
For sure.
And expertise. So, additionally, we mentioned, in terms of streaming past the 4K Ultra AD, you can have up to 4 simultaneous streams. And I put a bunch of exclamation points after it because I think that's kind of crazy.
That's huge.
I did not expect that. I expected 2 tops.
Yeah, 4's a lot, especially at that price, especially not having a higher tier version where you have to pay more to get more screens. That's huge.
There's no way this price stays this way. How long do we think this price stays where it is?
I'd give it maybe 2 years.
I think 2 years is right.
Exactly what I was
It
going to
gets
say.
you hooked in. You're obsessed with season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian, and you have to see what happens in season 3.
Yes.
Oh, but it went up to $12 a month.
I think knowing Disney, though, they will, in a roundabout way, try to give justification. Like they're going to add something. They're gonna make the service better in some kind of way in terms to to try to justify the price hike. But we'll see.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so you can have 7 profiles. So basically, that's not as big of a necessity to me. But titles can be downloaded to a device for offline streaming.
Yes.
The only limitation is the storage amount of the device you're downloading to.
Now, there was a story that I read very briefly that if a piece of content leaves Disney Plus and you have it downloaded, they're not going to do any kind of trickery to try to get it from you. You can still use it as long as you download it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you can download on up to 10 mobile devices.